In the morning light, I'm chasing dreams, navigating through the office streams. Deadlines looming, emails piling high, wondering if I'm reaching for the sky or just passing by. The world outside, it's a swirling storm, chaos in the streets, a daily norm. But inside my mind, I'm seeking peace, a way to balance, a moment to seize. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Upon meetings, voices in my head, strategies and plans, where do they lead instead? I take a breath, step back to see the bigger picture, what's meant to be. Coaching sessions, a guiding light, helping me focus, setting things right. With every word, a new perspective gained. In the game of life, it's not about the pain. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Quiet moments, I find my voice. In the chaos, I make my choice to lead with kindness, to act with care, to be the change, to show I'm aware. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another Careers, Chaos, and Coaching. I'm here with my co-host, Melissa in Houston. I am Felipe Cofino, and today is Sunday, November 30th, 2025. Happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrated Thanksgiving this past week. I know Canadians celebrated earlier in October, but I know that this, for the U.S. at least, is the official kickoff season. I feel like we are late to the game compared to other places, but I know I started decorating already. Houston, how are you doing? And have you started decorating yet?
Okay, at home, not so much. At the store, it looks like Santa threw up. Every time somebody walks in, I got the antlers on. They're sparkly like ruby slippers, and they just look at me and they're like, "Oh, hi." And I'm like, "Hey, welcome in. Merry Christmas." And they don't even know what to do with themselves. But I got to be honest, Felipe, I put the brakes on early. And guys, don't hate me for this. Don't hate me for this because truthfully, I don't care. But as soon as October ends, as soon as Halloween is over, the night Halloween happens, the nightmare before Christmas should be traditionally played in my house. Like that's the habit because it's Christmas. It goes from Halloween to Christmas. I don't care about Thanksgiving. I do, but I feel like it's like the pregame to Christmas, right? You do the turkey and whatever to get ready for the ham and the turkey or whatever. I don't know. I could be wrong, but reality,
No.
I wish it was 6 months of the year. I really do. Put me in the North Pole.
I learned recently that the Americans are the only ones to have this big dilemma because when you go, like, for example, in Europe, they are like already starting Christmas in early November, late October. Like they are like, we are kicking it off because they don't have Thanksgiving.
Well,
So
and Felipe, I'll say when I left Arizona, which doesn't really do the seasons, right? So for me, retailers kind of were the traditional mark, whatever was on the television. Like the marketers helped me figure out when the season shifted when I was growing up. But when I moved to the Midwest, when I moved to the Pacific Northwest, the trees tell me. I don't care what you guys say now. When the trees go, hey, it's orange, I'm like, hey, it's fall. The trees tell me. So I'm just tuned into nature for that because I'm a marketer and I know we can control it if we want to, but nature tells us. And I think it's frozen. Felipe, are you cold?
Oh, it's 30 degrees out here, and it's supposed to snow the next 2 days. But I'm curious. We have a lot of Canadians in the audience. For Canadians, since you all have your Thanksgiving so much earlier, do you start decorating immediately after your Thanksgiving? Because that means that you would have decorations through November and December. So let us know in the chat, how early do Canadians start decorating for Christmas? And while we're there, let's say hello to some more Canadians. Jane and Aaron Gibson is here. It's great to see you. And then, of course, our other friends, William Rochelle, Bill, Stephen Eng's in the house, Christy Williams, thank you for joining us. And please feel free. Oh, and Meryl Cass, as always. Thank you, Meryl. It's great to see you as always here. Hope that you're. It's not too cold and rainy where you're at, but it's cold and rainy here right now. And by all means, share the room with your friends. Let them know that we're going on live so your network can join us. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and on, of course, LinkedIn. So
Felipe, I have to jump in 2 seconds. I see Sean's comment here, right? He says the intro's cool, but a bit loud compared to your voices. I actually turned my music up and turned Felipe down. I had to like turn the music back up once we got in the room a little bit. But it's good to note. Secondly, can I just focus on the song for 2 seconds? Because that actually is something I wrote down while it was playing. There's a lyric line in there that says, "We've got the strength, we've got the grace." And I got to tell you guys, if we could start a show with anything or any show, I think today is the show I want to use that line as our focus because one, the holidays. We're not very graceful around the holidays. Let's be honest. We're fighting over football and that's my wishbone and I want the turkey leg. Why did Bob get it? And then also being in line. Today, I saw a post on the other platform where somebody had bought a bunch of pre-made chicken, right? Like the ready to go, pick it up, dinner's done chicken. And somebody was complaining they bought them all and they were going to go give them to the homeless. And I just started thinking about where is the grace in this moment? Like this lady got up, decided to feed people, give them something they don't normally get. They don't have an oven, whatever. And there was no grace in the comments. Even the lady giving it away, they were like, oh, she should have called ahead. And it really, Felipe coming into the show, can we like set the mindset of the room of let's just be graceful no matter what's happening in life? We've got the strength, we've got the grace, we can utilize it if we want it. And I
yeah,
think this is a perfect place to do it today.
yeah. I mean, it's not a Best Buy door a buster deal that you're going after and waiting in line for 5 hours and someone try to buy all like 500 items. This is food for the needy, and this is an opportunity for them to get a meal. And we're not talking, they don't get meals at all throughout the year, you all. They get meals when they
Or
can.
honestly, even if Felipe was pulling through with like if I run into you at the shopping store, right, the grocery store, and your carts are full of chicken, and I'm like, Felipe, what the heck are you doing? I came in for chicken salad, and now you're taking my chicken. What are you doing? It's not give me that. It's what are you doing?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then he says, I'm feeding the homeless. They're going to have chicken. It's Thanksgiving. I want them to have not a turkey. I can't do a turkey for a million people, but this is a small way for them to. I'd be like, here's $100. Here's $500. Whatever it is, right? You just opt in, you don't take away, you don't yell at him for helping. Anyway, so let's use that mindset today because it does get ugly out there.
well, and not only that, if I saw someone with like 100 chickens in their thing, I would have like so turkey allergy and see what they said, and they might have been like, oh well, we just have we're feeding the children at the children's hospital or whatever the idea might be, or maybe they're like, we just have a big family that hates turkey, so we're just doing Thanksgiving chicken for 80 people,
The
and
church's ovens went out the morning of the free dinner.
yeah, and so my thing is that, you know what? If you're that desperate for that chicken or that turkey, say, can I just buy one of those off of you and just see if they say? They say no, okay, but they might say yes. But anyways, we digress. And Kevin Turner, it's great to see you here as always. Thank you for joining us. So Melissa, let's do some introductions and our initial thoughts about this topic about being ready before you need to be updating your resume and LinkedIn profile. So why don't you introduce yourself and share your initial thoughts? Over to you.
Okay, guys. Hey, I hope we know each other by now, but if not, I am Melissa Houston, cultivator of dreams, motivator of human capital. And what that means is I just help people like you figure out what they want to be when they grow up and get a plan together to do that. Sometimes that's a Venn diagram, sometimes it's a resume, sometimes it's a LinkedIn profile, sometimes it's just accountability via phone call or a text. But you get to determine it. It's like a choose your own path, choose your own adventure with Melissa. And that's life. And so if you're looking for a life coach, I would love to be that help. But also, just to add to the value of the conversation, I have run a few businesses. I've done a few startups from scratch. I've helped other founders do theirs as well. But I'm also formerly a certified staffing professional. I used to help people as a recruiter find employment. And I would work with them to evolve their profiles and their resumes and how they would discuss it during the job interview. And so I've done all of that coaching and consulting. And then I ran a background screening company for 10 years, almost, just under. And I worked with all the HR professionals like Felipe to craft their screening requirements. I looked at the applicant tracking systems they were using. We were usually integrated with them. So I got to see the back end issues with the font you use not feeding through, the ATS not reading it accurately. This is stuff that's been around for a long time, guys. But there's new stuff all the time. So we just throw another circle on the Venn diagram, keep moving. What's cool about this show is Felipe's so willing to use his expertise, my expertise, which are very different. We sat on opposite sides of the table, but they both are useful to make sure that you're getting through all of those hurdles of getting the job, right? The recruiter, the HR professional, the ATS, all of it. And so that's what we're here to do. And check out and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Felipe, for rolling all of that feed. But guys, if you're not subscribed to Felipe's channels, please do that too. He's up next. But genuinely, I love that we're doing this together. YouTube was gracious enough to label us a podcast, which is high recognition there. And so if you're not following, subscribing, you definitely should be.
Well, thank you, Houston, for that little promo there. And there's my YouTube QR code. If you do want to follow, I would appreciate it because we do try to house everything there for convenience. It's a chance for you to not have to scroll through our LinkedIn, feed to find a previous show. You can go right here, and they're all labeled. They're all categorized in different playlists. And like Melissa mentioned, because this is audio only, it is labeled as a podcast. It has a separate YouTube, playlist for that. But and thank you to anyone who's already subscribed to it. I do appreciate that. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Felipe Cofino. I'm a passionate HR executive at PRB, which is Population Reference Bureau. They do a lot of work around data and research to improve health and wellness globally, really, by using data to help people see where we need to pay the most attention to. And I am also a passionate career coach. I have Cofino Consulting that I have been the founder of for 3.5 years. And I really just provide HR services, career coaching, recruiting, training. I have communication skills is a big topic lately. I have 2 events that I'm doing training at. I was going to say gigs, but 2 trainings that I'm doing. One at a country club and one at a bank. And I'll be doing really communication styles training for their managers and learning how different people have different communication styles, which will come into play today. And I'll talk about that. So if any of you need any services like this, feel free to reach out to me through Cofino Consulting. I'm also very passionate about LinkedIn, doing shows like this with Melissa Houston. I also have Workplace Wellness Hour with Ashley Flewell and Suman Jetty. And then, of course, my Social Saturday chat crew. I have that every Saturday as well at 12 noon. So check out those playlists. Feel free to join us there. And we are going to share the link down here in a minute to join us on stage after we go through our presentation here. But Houston, are you ready to kick this off?
I am always ready. I can't always find the mute button, but I'm always ready to do the coaching.
Well, again, reminder to you all, if you have friends, family that are looking for a job, thinking about a job, or maybe they just haven't updated a resume in 20 years because they've been at their job for 20 years, reach out to them, send them a DM, repost it to your network, let them know that we're going on live so they can benefit from this as well. And if not, share the recording so they can see it later on. All right.
Okay, so Felipe, Aaron says it's all good. I call them gigs too, hashtag Gen X. And I got to say, when we first started on the internet, let's go back to like prairie days, right? Come with me, guys, back to the 80s and 90s when we actually had to meet people in person. Um, when these fractional roles started, we called them gigs. It was gig workers. And I still can find that on the interwebs if I go digging far enough into the spider web portion of it. But I think it just speaks to longevity because how many versions of gig worker have you heard, Felipe? Can you rattle a few off just real quick? And there's a point behind this. It's actually one of my things I want to talk about today. But what other terms can we use for gig worker?
Well, there's so many, but here's the thing. The reason why I hesitated was because when I think of a gig worker, a gig, I think even old school, and where Aaron's probably thinking is musicians. Musicians, I think, originated the whole word gig. Oh, I got a gig.
And it could be, right? And this is the value of vocabulary, guys, because truthfully, when you're talking resume, customer service representative could be said 15 ways too. Gig worker, fractional, coach, consultant, 1099 employee. Have you ever heard that? That's a gig worker, right? They're not on the payroll.
Contractor.
Yep. And so there's a lot of ways you can state your experience. And that goes into probably our first, Felipe's five. I'm sure it's on there somewhere, but terminology, right? Or having more than one version to make sure you're covering your bases.
Well, let's go through them together, Houston. Let's do a little bit different here. Let's go tackle each of them together because I think that will give us a chance. So the first one here, we kind of talked on already, and why the whole premise of the show is opportunities move fast, and we've seen jobs be posted and taken down very quickly. So you gotta be on your toes as well and move fast. So updating your profiles appear first in recruiters' searches. If they're looking for you and they see a profile and the first part of your section of your profile isn't updated, that already sends a message. Oh, they might not be active. It might not be up to date. So they may not even scroll down and see your experience. So your online presence really is that first impression. And reviewing the wins builds confidence. You have a lot of experience. Have confidence in what you've done. Doesn't matter if it was 20 years ago or 2 weeks ago. You've accomplished things. You have reasons to feel confident. So state those wins that you have. And then preparation reduces stress, which is just common sense, I think, especially during layoffs or internal changes. So the goal is to be proactive versus reactive. But Houston, what are your thoughts about this?
I love this. Yes, stay on top of your profile, right? If you're not looking at it to make sure that it's saying everything you want it to say today, then that's a problem. Because all of these social profiles, guys, when I go one day, I can set the profile. I'm a dreamer. I'm a this, I'm a that. The next day, I'm an executor. I get things done. I check off to-do list. And that's okay to be both. But if you're going from jobs, being employed to job seeker or being laid off out of nowhere, or it's coming, you're going into retirement, you have traction shift, you want to review your profile. You want to make sure it's up to date with that new messaging. The other thing is reviewing your wins builds confidence. I love that bullet point. One of the things I did as a recruiter most often was sit down and say, hey, Felipe, tell me about your job. And he's like, I'm an HR executive. Okay, great. Tell me your job description. Oh, I did HR duties. That would never work, guys. And so what I would do as a recruiter is say, okay, well, walk me through it. And even welders, for example, I would say, explain it to me. How did you clock in? Did you use a computer? Did you use one of those little push down in the card poppy things like the 50s movies? Oh, no. We use a computer. Great. What other tools do you use? What other electronic devices might you use while you're on the job? And I make them walk me through. When's the last time you did that to yourself? Because when I say I'm a coach, I don't always have every bullet point I've ever worked on with a client, but I can give you 3 to 5 that I can focus on with you to give you an idea of what I do as a human. And then we can discuss the in between. And so I would just add that to it. Felipe, what
That's
about you?
a huge, excellent point because it's you're telling your story, and the way you can tell if they want to hear the story is if they ask you a question and say, "Well, do you want me to go into detail or just high level?" And say, "Oh no, tell me in detail what you did." Then tell, like Melissa just did, tell the story of what you did and what you used and how you did it, because that demonstrates the skills at practice, and it's showing them that you know exactly what to do, and it gives them confidence in your ability. All right, our next one here is what recruiters want. Okay, they want clarity and impact. They don't have time to read long stories. Okay, when they interview you, that's a chance for them to hear the stories. But right now, they need clarity, which is usually short and concise, and impactful things. So, a clear value statement of what you do and who you help. short and sweet. And who you help, you want to cater that to their pain points if you know what their pain points are, or to their clientele specifically. If you say, oh, you help people in retail and you're applying for a job in hospitality, that's not, you make sure that you're paying attention to detail when you do that. The second part is skills aligned to today's market. If you don't have AI on your resume right now, that is going to be possibly a negative against you. Even if it's just saying, hey, AI skills, beginner, practicing, mediocre, intermediate, advanced, put something in there that you have been introduced to AI. And if you haven't, we talked about it before, I'm not going to belabor it, start playing with it now. Even if it's just come up with recipes for this week, then you can say you've used AI, but start putting in there because that's going to be a very important skill to have, along with other skills that that job specifically needs. Evidence over fluff. You got to put metrics, y'all. Metrics, metrics, metrics. What I mean by that is don't just say, oh, I improved sales. How much? By 20%? Or how much did you exceed your quota by? 50%? Or did you reduce expenses by 10%? Or did you reduce time to fill jobs by 10%? Or did you increase sales? Or did you increase efficiency? Whatever that metric is, share it because that is going to send a message that you actually did it more than just saying that you did it. You got to give them the data and be credible, have a professional brand. What that means is be consistent throughout it. Don't get too fluffy on things. And here's an example. A 40 plus training with 90% satisfaction, which resulted in strong communication due to strong communication. This was very specific. I led a team of 40 people, and it was 95% satisfaction at the end of it, based on obviously a survey. So this tells people, whoa, they led a team and they were successful. Okay, great. I love that example. Houston, what are your thoughts about this?
Okay, so I love this, guys, and this is going to kind of just cherry on top with the vocabulary, but there's a few ways you could state your data too, right? Definitely tell them what they need to know. Always have something that grabs their attention. One of the things I used back in the olden days, right? We're going to go back to prairie days when I walked uphill both ways, my resume into the building, said, hey, please hire me. One of the things that was on my resume was common sense as a skill set. And why? Because as a salesperson, I knew they would have to talk to me out of curiosity alone. How dare you put that on your resume? What are you thinking? But anybody who's like, man, if I could just hire somebody with some common sense, and I had heard that so much in my in my experiences, and so I added the skill they wanted. When you listen to what employers are asking for and then provide it, even if it's one of those bullet points that's just a conversation starter that is rooted in truth, because I can prove I have common sense, it helps. The other thing is, Felipe, this year, me personally, when I took over the business, the first year of sales that I was fully responsible for, we exceeded plan by $250. The very next year, we exceeded plan by $25,000. Now, my question to you would be, is it stronger to tell you 250 to 25,000 or stronger to tell you that I increased my sales by 9,900% over last year?
Percentages tend to speak clear. That's the clarity
And
part.
I want to ask the audience too, guys, which one's more profound to you, the 9,900% increase of over plan, or the 250 to 25,000? I just want to know, because you guys, these are the things you should be asking yourself. How do I tell them the most by saying the least?
Think about this though. The dollar value is a significant jump. It's huge. But what it doesn't tell you is, well, what was there a goal? Were you supposed to meet that much? Did you know that you had? When you say you exceeded by that insane percentage, they're like, holy crap, you blew it out of the water. It wasn't, so they don't know that you blew it out of the water because they don't know what the goal was if you don't share what percentage you exceeded it by. And the dollar difference is great and it shows significant growth, but for statisticians, CFOs, CEOs, they want to see that percentage. And don't get me wrong, they want to see the final dollar amount. But when they're looking at achievements that are measurable and accomplishments that are measurable, they want to see that percentage a lot of times.
And guys, this is true for any investment. If you look at stocks, if you look at your credit card statements, you're not looking at the dollar value until you start spending, right? But you're looking at a percentage rate to approve or decline. That's the initial conversation. It has nothing to do with how much of the balance you'll use. And so I love what he said because percentages speak. The
Now,
other thing is, I
if
can
I
math,
both, I'd add both actually and say, you know
right?
what, increased
But
it by much, which was a 9,000 percentage increase over our
Let's
goal.
start with the big thing. And the other thing before I forget it, because it's almost gone, the 9,000 plus, they get to math that. Like Felipe said, if you don't know the goal, if I had a goal of selling one chocolate candy bar and I exceeded plan by 9,900, it's fine. But if it was $1 million goal exceeded by that, if it was a $10 million goal exceeded by that, that's different value. And so if you have that kind of value, if you've done 10 million in sales and then the next year you increased it by 9,900%, make sure both numbers are there. It just really, it's the ROI and how much can you give them? And sometimes, guys, in sales, you don't even track it. And so this is coming back to tracking your wins, writing them down, good or bad, in your planner. Just say it was a good day. I sold $5 million worth of sales. Then you can go back and calculate, right? You got to have these wins written down somewhere so you can do this. Felipe, are you there? Where'd you go?
Sorry, I enlarged my screen and I lost my mic. All right.
Yeah, I was like, I know he's there, but he's not there.
All right, let's go to the next one here.
Let's look at the comments real quick before we go on, just in case.
Yeah, so Elijah said, well said, evidence over fluff. No man argues with results. And Meryl Cass said, well said, Melissa Houston, Felipe, thesaurus and vocabulary, hashtags, which again, use the terminology of the job that you're applying for. If they're saying spreadsheets, and you have Excel all over your resume, just change the word Excel to spreadsheets for that job application so that you can apply with words that they're using. Because if they do a word search for spreadsheets and it doesn't come up, they might end up skipping over you. And an easy way to replace words, and this might be really fundamental for you all, but just a quick reminder, you hit Control H and it gives you the option in the field to say replace the word Excel, and it gives you a second field with the word spreadsheet, and it'll replace them all in your entire resume, and then you can go back and change them back. But the headline of your, let's go talk about optimizing your profile for visibility. Your LinkedIn profile. When people show up, they usually see the first 50 characters of your headline. On any event like this, or when your picture is showing up somewhere. But if they look at your profile, they're seeing your headline, your banner, your picture, and your headline has 220 characters. There's a lot of keywords. If you're a job seeker, I highly recommend you fill that out and have as many keywords in there, because these are words that you want to put in there for jobs that, if you're doing accounting work and doing spreadsheets, you want to have Excel and spreadsheet, both those words in that headline. If you're doing customer service, you want to talk about upscale customer service, not just only customer service, because maybe it's an upscale company that looks for you. So keywords are so crucial. And then tell your story in the about section. Okay? Don't just copy your job description. Let them know who you are. Start off with, I've had success with the following things due to my experience with the following. So start off with your successes. Start off with something that catches your eye, and then tell them your experience after that in your about section. But that's a great way to write what you've accomplished. Use ChatGPT to reformat that into a better read story, so that when people get to your about section, it reads and flows nicely. Your skills, make sure that you have up to 100 skills. Maximize it. It's another key area. Your activity is optional if you want to be a content creator, but at the very least, if you're commenting on other people's posts, that's where you're going to be visible, and that's where you're going to stand out. If you comment on recruiters' posts, company pages, those are going to stand out. And then the open to work. This is something that, not the banner, just having the open to work feature on without the banner that says open to work, that is really only for recruiters that pay for LinkedIn Recruiter to see. If someone like I don't pay for LinkedIn Recruiter anymore, I can't see all the people that have that turned on anymore. It'd be great. I would have invited them to this event today if I could, but that gives you a little bit of anonymity with your employer to let so that they can't know that you're searching. Now, if your company's big and they pay for LinkedIn Recruiter, yeah, they might be able to see you that way. But I think LinkedIn tried to create something that protects you by not having your company see you if you're out there. Don't quote me on that. I need to research that more because they were working on it. I don't know if they actually did it. Um, but a pro tip here is add rich media slides and videos if you can. If your job warrants it. If you're an accountant, you might not want to do it unless you want to demonstrate how to do some tricks on Excel. I see people doing that all the time. If you're in marketing, PR, digital design, graphics, you should be on here demonstrating your skills. You should be having videos, you should be having carousels, you should be having images of some of your work. So it really is depending. I'm an HR person. I give out tips about HR, recruiting, interviewing, workplace. I share what I know. So tap into that if you can so that people that are looking for that kind of work, you stand out. Houston?
Okay. I don't care if you're in media or not, do what he said. I don't care what industry you're in. It is social hour, guys. It has always been about networking. Always. I don't care what they tell you because when you go into an interview, you're in a networking situation. You are now networking with the person who can provide you a job or not. You are telling them what they need to know to accept you or not. You can hand them a resume, you can hand them a business card, you can slide them your link to your social. But a couple of things I would say as somebody who's done background checks, if you're going to do this and you want to be visible on social, you better understand you are visible on social. So make sure that when you do go comment on their post and do go engage in the recruiters' feeds and all of that, that you are also representing something that when they click on you, that they would want to align with their brand because it's about alignment. If I wanted to be the next Minnie Mouse at Disneyland, my job is to start posting about Disney, to talk about passion, to talk about Walt Disney's backstory and why it motivates me to move. If I want to be Minnie Mouse, I better have ears on my headline. I better have polka dots on my dress, and I better have the energy to match. Because if it happens that I tag Disney and the recruiter who's hiring Minnie sees me and I have all of that together, you can hear the bells and the angels singing. You can hear it. They've done the marketing already for us. You know that moment for the recruiter. It's just relief because there she is. I found Minnie Mouse. However, if Minnie Mouse is being Minnie in the comments, but then is not so Minnie on the other side, and she needs more of a mouse tool to fight what you're saying online, then we're in trouble. Disney's not going to hire somebody who's a brand risk to be Minnie Mouse. And so actions, right? We have to document what we want, outline what we're really going to do, and make sure we stick to that while we're job searching. You are able to go back to your profile and delete things that maybe aren't Minnie Mouse. You can delete things that maybe you don't mean anymore. You can go, oh, wow, when I was, 25, this was funny when I was at the club all the time. Now I'm 35. I don't think it's so funny because I don't club and I'm so far away from that life. It doesn't even make sense for me now. That's okay. That's growth. But make sure if you're showing up online, you're showing up exactly the way you want to. And if you're not, make it private. You do not have to live your life everywhere publicly. If you just want LinkedIn to be 100% and you want everything else private, make it private. Check your settings. That's what I would add, Felipe.
Love it. And for any of you that are, one tip I always say is go look at other people's profiles. If you see someone has something on their profile and you're wondering, how do they do that? Reach out to them. Look at Melissa's profile, look at my profile. If there's something that we're doing, like if we have our featured section and you don't know and you don't have yours, reach out to us. If you're missing your featured section, all you have to do is click on the button that says add section. It's right in the very beginning part of your profile on the top. And under add section, you'll see different things you can add to your profile. Featured section's one of them. And that's a chance to have your own personal billboard.
Or like I explain to my customers, once you put the gold star on it, it's like putting it on the fridge, and everybody who walks by the fridge has to see it. They don't get a choice.
Exactly. All right. Let's get through these last two real quick here. All right, so resume essentials stand out. Here's where I want y'all, don't get flashy on your resumes. Don't try to make it colorful and images and emojis. Clean and simple, ATS friendly. ATS is the applicant tracking system. If you put images on your resume, if you put funky fonts, it might not read them. So you simple and boring is okay. Flashy and fun, leave that for LinkedIn. You can put a little bit of personality in your LinkedIn profile. Keep your resume clean and make sure that the words matter. Example, lead by achievements, not tasks. Like I said, measurable achievements, pack them with metrics, save money, improve percentage, reduce time, and customize it for each role. And so we've already shared all these things, but an example of this was redesigning onboarding, reducing time to productivity by 30%. That's a significant metric if that's something you measured in your company. So resume essentials, it's less is more sometimes, but the more needs to be quality, not quantity. Houston?
I love it. I think you can get creative in your summary paragraph that tells people. You could be creative in your cover letter and in the words, vocabulary. Um, Paint a picture of who you are if you want. The profile, absolutely. You go to my profile and people have to ask questions. If I'm applying for an internal position, when they're looking at my LinkedIn profile, they have questions. Here's the thing. Some recruiters would tell me you're doing yourself a disservice by leaving all of this up while you're searching for a job. And they're absolutely 1000% correct. So, disclaimer, if you look at mine, just know I am breaking my own rules because I am not going to stop being Melissa Houston coaching and consulting. So, I will not deviate from that being my main LinkedIn profile. I won't work for an employer who wants to take control of it. I won't work for somebody who's going to be scared of it. If it's a problem before I get hired, trust me, once I sign that contract, we're going to be talking a lot more than I want to if it's already an issue. And so for me, I have that ability to be a little bit of a pain in the butt because I have some flex here. Others don't. And so, again, you got to figure it out for yourself and maybe like set your own rules. But look at your industry. Marketers are all about breaking rules. There is somebody who got paid a very pretty penny to have a football player attack one of America's most beloved old ladies for a Snickers commercial. And it went gangbusters. Betty White got tackled on the play. She was creative. It broke all the rules of what we're supposed to do with our senior citizens we love so much. And we adored it. And so I think you have to be as creative as you can be within your industry. If you're in marketing, you can tackle an old lady, finger quotes, AI, all of that. Betty was in it. It was all for camera. But you can be more creative in creative industries. You need to be more professional in professional industries. But if you're pretending, they're going to know. If you are into color and fun and passion, tell them that. Tell them you also know how to behave at the table when it's time to be appropriate if needed. That's me, right? I do both. I can bring both, but I can't shut off one no matter how hard I try. Felipe?
Well, and I think putting it out in the universe is always a good way to do it. Speak it out loud, like you just did, because you got people supporting you. Merrill's reaching out to Walt Disney, letting them know, letting Lynn Williams know. Aaron saying it sounds like Tinkerbell just went through the studio. So I encourage you all to chase your passion. Just be focused on it. All right, next one here is quick fixes you can make this week. So, in order to be layoff ready, promotion ready, or opportunity ready, here are some takeaways we want you to remember. Update your headline with keywords. Add the last 12 months of accomplishments throughout your profile. Refresh your skills and make sure you add AI and leadership and tech in there if you have the leadership, obviously. Request 2 to 3 new LinkedIn recommendations. And we didn't touch on this, but if you have a previous supervisor that you had great friendship with that you still talk to, or a previous professor or colleague you worked on a project with, reach out to them. These are the low-hanging fruits. Saying, hey, I'm thinking about changing careers, or I'm thinking about, I just got laid off, I'm applying for jobs. We'd really appreciate it if you left a recommendation about the work we did on this project, or about how I was as an employee, or how I was as your supervisor. And reach out to them. 10% of them will probably come back and do it for you. So Don't expect everyone to do it, but definitely do it. And then set job alerts on LinkedIn, on Indeed, on Glassdoor. Set them up, be specific, and use multiple versions of your title that you want. If I wanted to right now actively look for an HR role, I would have HR director, I'd have VP of HR, I'd have director of people and culture, I would have director of HR and development, I would have director of learning and development, I would have all these different titles because I have skills in all these areas. So I want to make sure if there's a title that I would be interested in, I'm going to list it there. So in your job titles on your profile on LinkedIn, list multiple there. There's an option there when you rate open to work, but also when you set up your job alerts, set them up properly and pay attention to them because first time I set them up, I was getting job alerts for gas station attendant and retail cashier. Clearly, I did something wrong. So make sure you're being specific about it. Houston, your thoughts?
Oh, I love this because it's so important to make sure you're setting your parameters, knowing what you want first. And I think it goes back to the vocabulary. A good job search strategy, and this is something I usually charge for, guys, but if you think about your job, customer service rep, there are 57 ways you can say it. Retail cashier is also a customer service rep. It's just stated differently because it's a title within the organization they chose. However, their job, if I just take out their job descriptions, erase the titles, and look at the overlap, they're doing the same role. They're taking care of the customer. They're meeting needs. They're listening. They might be upselling or actively engaging. They're definitely resolution, and then they're following the same steps if it goes wrong. There's a lot of overlap there, so figure that out. I would say, oh, I'm getting feedback. Is that you, Felipe? Did you
No,
unmute?
I'm on mute.
No, you can't be if you're talking to me. Uh,
Muted.
okay. But you have some different ideas of either the job titles or go into the job description itself. I'm a coach, I'm a trainer, I'm a leader. I can do presentations, and I start looking for those keywords, not necessarily in the job title, but if you look for the job description on LinkedIn, it's going to work the same way, whether it's job title or not. And so look for those keywords you want to do. Have your resume up to date for sure, but then email, guys. Make sure you're using an email just for job search. You can always forward that email to whatever email you monitor all the time, but you want to limit your spam. You want to protect your personal life. You want to make sure that you're not giving away too much, because if I have your resume and you're silly enough to still put your address on it or your phone number, I called you silly. If you're doing it, you should remove at least the address. Phone number, get a Google number. They give them to you for free. You can mask your real number too. WhatsApp. There's a lot of ways to play, but protect your privacy. Do not be so excited about that $1 million job that they're offering you in the DMs that looks really funky and they want to talk to you about on WhatsApp without vetting. Don't move silly just because you need it, right? They are taking advantage of those people. And then the job alerts, I love so much. The early bird gets the worm, Felipe, like you said in your first slide. If you're not getting the alerts from LinkedIn, they will email you, they'll text you, they'll send them to your notifications. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to be the first one? Because I'm promising you, as soon as they post it, they're waiting for the first application. Felipe, how long do you sit and look at the screen and wait sometimes knowing that it's just going to fire and you're ready to go? Or do you leave it open knowing that you're going to refresh it in a few hours and see a few to already pick from?
I don't leave it open. I don't. I definitely. Um, I don't know. I mean, I have to think about that because there's times where. Well, are you asking about the resume or about the profile?
Once you post a job and you know that there's going to be hot action on the
Recruiter.
job.
Sorry, as a
Yep.
recruiter. Oh no! I wait and come back. I want to see a big batch ready to go, and tackle them all at once. So I post it, walk away. Like I just posted one, on Thursday. Oh no, Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and I am intentionally not looking at it until tomorrow because it was a holiday. I know there were probably a lot of people applying, and people. It was a long weekend. Um, Normally, I would do it like later that day or the next morning. This is the longest I've ever gone without looking at them, but it's the holiday weekend. That's the only reason why. But normally, I would say by the end of the day, or once I have a job posted, every morning I go in there first thing and look at it, and then probably twice, once at lunchtime and once before I go home.
It could have been my location, but I was small town Nebraska, so I'll own it. It was the manufacturing mecca of Nebraska, and I could post a job before lunch, say 11 a.m., come back at noon, and I had 10 applicants. But if I was eating at my desk, I couldn't help but just leave that email open. So it would say, "You have an applicant." And I always wanted to read that first one. It might just be me, guys. If you're a recruiter, if you've ever been like me, let me know. If you're more like Felipe and you're hiring and you're like, "Oh, I wait till I get like 10 emails saying people applied." What is that? Because there are both. And that's the thing, right? If you can get on their radar early, they might not forget you. You might be the only one they actually take the time to read if you're first. I'm not saying you have to be, because something else I know from recruiters is if it's been open for a month, they've had too many people just click an easy apply that didn't actually read the description, or they would have been applied. And so, or, they would have been screened and hired. And so still throw in your hat. Don't just look at this week's, look at 30 days or older and still figure out if it's open and active and if they're still reviewing applicants. And LinkedIn will tell you. I don't know if it's just paid or not, Felipe. You would have to let me know. I did upgrade I had the premium and then it stopped and I was like, oh, I miss all of the things. So I turned it back on. But I do see how long the job's been posted or when they actively reviewed last. Do you see that without the pay? Do you know? Anybody in the comments either?
I don't know. I haven't paid one, so I'm not sure. But let us know in the chat. But you bring up a good point, and I want to we have Bill on the stage here. But what one of the points that you mentioned earlier is some recruiters are going to be like jumping on it as soon as you apply. Other recruiters might have 5 openings that they're recruiting for, and they don't have time just to focus on one job. Or some recruiters like myself, who's doing other HR stuff, compensation, benefits, coaching, accounting, training, and recruiting. I get to it when I can. So you're going to have people respond differently. It's not you, it's them. All right. So last one before it's the wrap up one here is just to remember for future opportunities. We'll thank you before ready. Yeah, be ready before you need to be, and then join us on Sundays for Careers Casting Coaching. All right. Now we have Bill on the stage here. Let's get back to this screen here. All right. Bill, my friend, how are you? And please share your insight on this topic or questions for you.
I'm doing well. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay. One of the things that I wanted to uh, address is constantly revising my resume. I find it hard to actually proofread it. And the other day I was talking to Melissa and she said, "Do you want to be hired as an e-commerce business owner? And who's going to do that?" And I'm like, "Where is that?" And so, I had to go back into the open to work and look at how I listed myself, and that was obviously a mistake. But the other question I have for you guys, or that was a statement, but the question I have for you guys is, what do you use the have LinkedIn assist with you rewriting your resume for each opportunity, or do you do it on your own?
No,
No,
I don't.
no.
No. I don't think
I haven't either. So
I don't
but
think LinkedIn Assist has mastered it. I honestly think ChatGPT would get you closer to what you want than LinkedIn would. LinkedIn creates a great, what I call a LinkedIn resume of stuff that you have on your LinkedIn profile.
right,
Uh, and what I do is if I'm searching for candidates, like if I'm trying to poach somebody that isn't actively looking for a job, I'll print out the LinkedIn resume, show it to the hiring manager. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this person before I reach out to them? Like, oh, I like what I see. All right. Because if I send them their profile, they don't always know how to scroll down to the right part of the profile. The LinkedIn resume that they produce for us, it is a nice snapshot, but it's not a resume that you loaded in there. It's LinkedIn taking your information and creating a resume format for you.
got
How
it.
to do it for you, I wouldn't recommend. I do think that write it out. You can have it ChatGPT tweak, parts of like your accomplishments. Rephrase this to sound better, kind of thing. But always have someone like Houston, someone that's an HR, a recruiter, or even just someone that's an English major or good at writing read your resume because they'll catch things that you did not catch. I always miss things that I didn't catch because my eyes just miss it every time. So having another pair of eyes, look for those mistakes, but also having a pair of eyes that are fresh, saying, like Melissa said, are you really looking to be an e-commerce person? Like, and that kind of says, oh, is that what my resume is messaging? Because that's not what I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Used to,
That's what I said immediately. Like, where
The
is
thing I
that?
would add is I love that Felipe just owned this, guys. And I don't know if you were listening, but he's an HR guy who does not just go to your profile. He doesn't, I mean, you can upload your resume. LinkedIn creates one for you if you have one. But do they create one whether I use them or not? Are you able to pull my resume whether I like it or not? Do you have the option, Felipe, is my question. Because I upload my resume to LinkedIn. If I want you to download the resume, is that the one you get or do they create their own? That would be my first question to Felipe to let me know, because maybe you can look at mine and see.
there's
Number
two
two,
options. I can download what you
okay,
uploaded or create one from LinkedIn. Will give you the option.
right.
Yeah,
And so
and
then my second thought is, guys, if Felipe can choose whether or not to use mine, you better have your LinkedIn profile match. You've heard Felipe say, I always look if the resume and the profile matches. Why? Because he doesn't look at your resume first. He prints off your LinkedIn profile resume. So if you have a job description and you really want this job, if he's busy and he's the guy telling you Minnie Mouse and you're changing your resume but not your LinkedIn profile when you're applying to a job where you're focused on LinkedIn access and you're engaging on, Felipe Walt Disney Guy's page, it better match. And here's where I come back in. If you really are like Will, and I don't like to change my resume every time, I'll be the first one to tell you I don't do it. But what I do is I will take 3 to 5 jobs. I try to keep it to 3 really when I do it this way. And I will figure out what those overlapping job descriptions are. And I bullet point that. I just focus on the center skill sets that are going to be all 3 jobs and highlight that and then talk about the overlap depending on which one I'm sending it to. I can talk managing if I want to be a customer success manager. I can talk onboarding and implementation if I want to do that. I can talk sales if I want to do that. But the core components of all of those roles are in the center. And I can talk about that on my resume and then evolve from there. Felipe, what are your thoughts?
absolutely, I totally agree. And I think that it just we're talking about keeping yourself ready. Both things need to be ready and need to match, and they need to tell the same story. Um, you might have things on LinkedIn that you don't have on your resume. That's okay, but if what you have on both aren't matching, it's a red flag. It says, okay, lack of attention to detail. Is there some dishonesty here? Do I need to dig deeper? Do I want to spend more time to figure this out?
Right.
You
Right.
don't want to create more work for the recruiter. And Nick here put, when people reach out in a text, email, phone calls, look, if you didn't give them your phone number and it's not a company that reaches out to you is going to say, hi, I'm reaching out from Capital One because you applied to us. We'd like to talk to you. And if you apply to Capital One, great, you respond. But when people send you a text, I have a job offer for you that's remote and pays this much, when they don't mention what the job is, red flag. I don't care. Red flag. Ignore it.
The job is they're
Don't
going to take your
respond to
kidneys
it.
or
Delete
something.
it. Report your
Don't
job.
go. Yeah,
These
don't
are
go.
Texts are probably the worst thing, unless you, yeah, and also unless you opt in to be communicated by text, which is mostly the Gen Zs, but very few of them still do. Most of them still want email communication, but you have an option on when you apply. Do I want to be contacted by email or text or both? 90% of them say email. I get 95% actually. So unless you opted in for a text response from the recruiter, you probably aren't. The text responses you're getting are probably spam.
Okay, so I just want to add this other disclaimer. If I wanted to
Houston,
find your,
anything else?
yeah, I have a
Oh,
little
did I
bit of a,
lose you all?
no,
No.
delay. Okay,
Oh, I see you all
so
talking, but you can't hear me. Let me
yeah,
refresh.
just
We
hold
can
on.
hear you.
Oh, you're back.
I want to talk anyway if he would stop. So, guys, the other thing I can tell you is if I go and look at your LinkedIn profile, it's going to give me the email that you use to communicate on LinkedIn. It default gives me contact info. Go click the three dots, you'll see it. But the other thing I can tell you is if I take that email and put it into Google, I can find every social you use that with. I can find anywhere that email has been tagged, if your information has been linked. Peekaboo or any of those fact finder websites that call themselves background screening, that's not really background screening. They're screen scraping data from all over the internet, anywhere you've ever signed up, anywhere an email list got leaked, and they can find your contact data. I can tell you your mother's maiden name if I have 15 minutes in the email you use on LinkedIn. I can tell you your family tree if I go take that information over to Ancestry. Somebody in your family laid out the tree for me. Facebook will tell me who your mom is. I know your mother's maiden name now because she put it on Facebook. I also know your mascot from high school because you put it on Facebook. And if you're using the same email for everything, that's how they find you. That is the scam. You want to prevent the text and those weird things. Change the way you move on the internet. Get a job that says, this is it for emails. It could be job seeker Melissa Houston. I don't care what it is. Figure it out. Mine is connect with Melissa Houston, and the things that I use, I use it. But there are personal things that I keep way away from that email for personal reasons. And so make sure you're being safe. Felipe, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. And that email idea is brilliant because it does help you not miss any emails, get cluttered with spam or personal emails. I know that I'm bad about checking my personal email. I wish I had created one when I was job seeking Houston because that would have helped me so much. But we are at the end of the hour. I do want, before I check with Bill real quick to see if he has any last words, I do want to remind people that with your phone number on LinkedIn, unless you are using that phone number for business purposes, you probably don't want to have your phone number on your LinkedIn profile in your contact information. Your email is very common and people have it there, but if you don't want that there either, don't include it. So make sure that you are looking at your contact information because only have the contact avenues that you want people to use listed there. Bill, any last thoughts or questions you want to ask before we wrap up?
Absolutely not. Thank you, everyone, for everything. Great show today.
Well, thank you. Oh, and Nick had a great question here about recommendations. She says, does HR look at recommendations? Sometimes there are too many and it can look bad. I'll be honest, HR, we probably don't make it down to the recommendation section that often unless the applicant tells us, hey, here's a recommendation from my previous boss from LinkedIn, and they send me the recommendation link. Then I look at it, and then when I see that one, I might look at the other ones as well to see if there's consistency or if it's like the only one. But it's usually, and that's actually a good trick for people is if you have a great recommendation, send it to the recruiter and send it the link. You can copy the recommendation or you can click the link for the recommendation and send just that part so that it goes right to them. And then that way it allows them to see it because they probably aren't scrolling all the way down. But
I will say I have to look at the recommendations. I love it. I have to. So I go look, and if they all happen on the same day, the same week, but you were like ghost town before and after, it's a concern. If I see them built over time, that's better. If they're all there all the time, great. But I don't care if you could file faster than any secretary ever if you're now the CEO of the business, right? So make sure that they're valuable recommendations for the job you want. If I want to talk about being Tinkerbell or Minnie Mouse or Sparkles or glitter or passion and fun, that would be the recommendation I would post if I want to get to Disney. If I didn't want to be at Disney, maybe I would post that I'm a ninja and I can fight and you better watch out, Felipe, or I'll drop an elbow when you're not looking, right? And so it just depends on your motivation and what the recommendations are saying to it.
And don't forget, Nick, you can, and for everyone, you can pin the top three. Actually, no, that's skills, not recommendations. I don't think you can pin recommendations, can you? No, you
No,
can't.
but you can turn them on and off, guys. You can deactivate
Yeah.
a recommendation and not lose it. It's not deleted. It's just not highlighted. And so you can very much craft your recommendations based on what you're trying to do at the time.
All right. Well, Houston, what do you have coming up? And any final thoughts?
Oh, guys, it's still Black Friday weekend in retail land. So I'm going to go rock it. I put it on my antlers and they sparkle and I'm going to have fun. We keep dancing, but genuinely, we're just breaking records. It feels good. It feels good to have a team that's doing all the things. I have another bike meet coming this next month. And then I also have my coffee chats. We're back weekly. And so have something coming. Felipe, I was actually going to talk to you. I don't know what you're doing Saturday morning, but I'm thinking about maybe putting a few children's authors together for the stage to have some guests come back and talk about that. Um, I think it's timely with the holidays, and it might be a great way to share the book with people who want to gift the book. But I want to do that soon. I definitely want to let you guys know I have $25 clarity calls right now. First visit only. It's for people who have never done it before. It can be life changing. People have been talking about it on the last show. Go watch. But then I also have a deal. Felipe, my $10,000 coaching yearly fee is only $2,500 for the next two people to sign up, and that's a huge discount, guys. That's 75% off. Where did you find that anywhere?
75% off discount, you all.
And
75%
And I
off.
gotta be honest, guys, I wasn't joking when I said I went from 250 to 25,000, right? And so that 9,000% increase, that was not a joke. I can help your business too. It's just strategy and then putting the work behind it. And so if you really need a partner, somebody to hold your hand through the year, let's get it done. Felipe, what about you? What are you up to?
Well, I already started decorating, so I have, I say about 50% of the house decorated. We don't have our tree yet. We have the fake tree that has all the wooden ornaments over the years that we've cut off our live trees. Um, and the inside of the house looks like 50% of a Hallmark movie almost. So, yeah, it's the Cafinos go crazy for Christmas.
Do you think you have more Halloween or Christmas decorations?
Oh, more Christmas. And I thought it was about the same until I had Sebastian, my foster son, and his sister were here for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, all right, since you're here, can you help me pull out the Christmas boxes? It shouldn't be that many. And as I pull them out, I'm like, oh my God, we have twice as many Christmas boxes as we have Halloween. How did that happen? Now, some of the Halloween animated 6-foot animals are not in boxes. So that technically they each count as a box. But no, more Christmas for sure. Because you gotta understand, my father-in-law was a Christmas nut. So when we were up there for Thanksgiving, he passed away, and my mother-in-law, she's like, "All right, come down to the basement. What of Dad's stuff do you want?" I'm like, "Of Christmas stuff? Are you serious?" Like, yeah. So all the animated not the blow up. I don't do blow ups, but all the animated moving figurines, like from the snow bear to the Santa to the lady singing to the reindeer moving. I have all those now to add to the collection. So yeah, every house is decorated. Every room is decorated in the house, and music 97.1 FM, which plays Christmas music all the time, is on the station 24/7. So it seems like it's a lot, but it's not overwhelming as much as I probably painted the picture that it is.
Well, let's be honest, guys. For some of us, the holidays aren't great, and others, my holiday is the fact that I get to look at sparkly lights in a dim room where the lights don't have to be so bright and we have to like have eyesight problems. I really hate a bright room, and so Christmas is that time where everybody dims the lights, turns on the thing, gets the hot cocoa, the blanket, the whatever. It's my favorite. It really is like Halloween to Christmas. You just put me in my happy place.
Well, and you know what? When my dad passed away, for those who have had lost ones, the holidays suck, especially that first year without that lost one. But I remember my dad saying, celebrate how much I love the holidays when I'm gone. And that stuck with me because it was one of those things where we always say people are a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder. If we can remember the good times and celebrate the funny stories. I mean, Dad during the holidays are some of the best stories because that's when he would get drunk and he would do his wobble walk. He walked like a duck, and he would hug everybody and be so affectionate. Which normally he was affectionate, but not this affectionate. And he would just be funny as crap. So it's bringing back those memories, spreading a little cheer. Maybe those lights that you put out put a smile on someone else's face that drove by. So for me, it helps me get through the holidays if I'm having a tough time, or if I'm not, I just lean into it heavier. But outside of that, I'll be back next Saturday with the Social Saturday Chat crew at 12 noon. And then on that following Monday will be the last workplace wellness hour of 2025 as we take a holiday break until January. And that's December 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be our holiday show. And that's pretty much. Oh, and then I'm watching the Commanders game today at 7 p.m.
You guys, what are you up to this weekend? Drop it in the chat. What was your favorite takeaway today? I gotta say, I think I'm gonna end with the same thing I started with, which is we've got the strength, we've got the grace. That is the theme song of the show, and I feel like if I could just exemplify that mindset through the end of the year, if I can help others, if I can extend grace where maybe they don't get it, right? I've seen some really silly people do some really silly things. There's been some really aggressive people doing some really aggressive things, and I don't agree with all the things I see. But I don't have to meet them there unless I want to, right? I can be silly if I want to be, but I don't have to be there if I don't want to be. And so figure out what works for you guys. Give the grace to those who want to do it another way. Give them the space. Felipe, you and I give each other space all the time. We do it different all the time. But somehow there's that overlap that these guys get to take away from. It's kind of cool.
It really is, and I'm grateful for it because, this space is kind of a chance for me to relax with you and have some fun and share some information that hopefully helps others. So it's for me, it just it fills my cup. So thank you all for that, and thank you everyone who showed up. Aaron, thanks for being just an amazing ambassador for us. I mean, you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn, you're giving updates on delays, you're letting us know about everything. So I just
An
appreciate.
amazing producer at heart. He can't help himself. He's a fantastic guy.
Not only that, he's on your YouTube. He's on my YouTube. Like I can see you, he's on your YouTube pair, then he's on my YouTube. I mean, he's just amazing. So, and then Kenny, another amazing ambassador. You are the reason why this show exists. You created it. You inspired us. So thank you. And Kinga, my friend, Kinga, you are on fire. I've seen you post, and you are just doing a lot of great work out there.
Killing it. Great job.
Yeah, and Nick, we love you to death as our publisher. Keep on just doing and shining brightly because you are just on fire too. And Stephen Eng, I'm just happy you're back, my friend. It's just wonderful to see you. And Jay Copper is doing very well. He says hello. And Jane, it's wonderful to see you as well. Always love having you here in the room with us. And Mike LeBlanc, thank you for always being here. And you are just one amazing songwriter. I always think the world of you. And Sajith Kumar, another recruiter who offers great advice. If you're not following him, check him out. He just posted something about Substack. And with that being said, everyone,
I have an ask. Real quick, guys, listen, if you got anything from this, why don't you go drop a recommendation for Felipe if he was the guy who tickled your brain? If it was me, do that. If the show has ever helped you, leave a recommendation. If you see somebody else who has helped you in the comments, leave them one because genuinely we don't know we're helping unless you tell us. And then if you tell us, then it helps us help others, right? So just keep that going. And if you see somebody doing a good job, even if it's just in the DMs, go tell them, good job. I appreciate what you did. Even if you don't want to write the recommendation, tell people when you see them, clap when you see something cool, like high five the person in the funky sweater this Christmas. Get the energy out there.
I love that idea. And follow Melissa on YouTube. And also, in addition to that, always tell people when you hear something said about something else or somebody else, let that person know. I tell my employees all the time, hey, you know what? You're being talked about really highly in this meeting. Or, you know what? I heard your supervisor say this wonderful thing about you. Like, really? I never knew that. Let people know what's being said about them.
Oh, Felipe, I do
What?
that. I come to them and I'm like, hey, Felipe, we were talking about you behind your back to your face. Guess what? And then I tell them to their face what we said behind their back. And it's so fun because they're disarmed. They're like, wait, what? You're talking behind my back to my face? What? So try it, guys. Try to come in hot like that. I was talking behind your back to your face. And they go, what do you mean? And then you tell them something amazing.
So yeah, so go out there, spread some kindness, do one kind thing for somebody out there today, and leave a recommendation. Tell us what your thoughts were, what's your best takeaway, and come back next in 2 weeks for another great show. If you have any topics, let us know. Part of me wants to do. Are you interview ready for that job interview? And maybe that's a January one. I'm not sure if the holidays people are going to be a little distracted. But January, maybe we do. Are you interview ready, Melissa? I don't know what your thoughts are, but
I say let's not wait because honestly, I know what happens next, Felipe. We do the, oh my gosh, the holidays are here. And then everybody goes right after the holidays. I'm going to take care of, and the list grows and grows and grows. But truthfully, there are so many people who have weeks off right now that could be optimizing those things before the resolution. And I think we should be ready.
all right. Well, chat what your thoughts are. If you'd like to have an interview ready, if you want to have a holiday theme event, if you want to have a totally different topic about shopping, if you want to talk about just life, winter blues, whatever it is, share in the comments, let us know, and invite your friends to follow us. And thank you all for being part of this community. We appreciate you. You really are the reason why we keep on doing this for 3 years, is because we have built a great community that you all keep on giving back to us. And so it's very easy to keep on giving back as well. So thank you for everything you do. And we will see you in 2 weeks, everyone. Take care and have a great Sunday. Adios.
Bye.
In the morning light, I'm chasing dreams, navigating through the office streams. Deadlines looming, emails piling high, wondering if I'm reaching for the sky or just passing by. The world outside, it's a swirling storm, chaos in the streets, a daily norm. But inside my mind, I'm seeking peace, a way to balance, a moment to seize. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Upon meetings, voices in my head, strategies and plans, where do they lead instead? I take a breath, step back to see the bigger picture, what's meant to be. Coaching sessions, a guiding light, helping me focus, setting things right. With every word, a new perspective gained. In the game of life, it's not about the pain. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Quiet moments, I find my voice. In the chaos, I make my choice to lead with kindness, to act with care, to be the change, to show I'm aware. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our